Happy Thursday and welcome back to another exciting adventure of the Rocketeer Minute, where each and every day, Monday through Friday, we talk about 1 minute of the greatest adventure movie Walt Disney ever made, the 1991 Joe Johnston directed feature, The Rocketeer. I'm one of your hosts, Jim O'Kane of TVDads.com.
And I'm Hal Bryan, an airplane nerd from the Experimental Aircraft Association here in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Now, Jim, we had so much fun yesterday with Lisa Pedersen. We begged, we pleaded, we may have even cajoled, but I'm not even sure if I know how to do that.
I think, yeah.
A little bit of cajoling. And we're very, very lucky to have her back. Lisa, welcome back.
Thank you. Hello. Hi, you guys. It's been a while. Yeah.
It's been a while. We've missed you.
Yeah.
We missed you too.
It's been a long 24 hours.
It has been a long, painful 24 hours. Fraught with technical difficulties, we might add.
Yeah. Uh-huh. We got it together there.
We did. It was putting the Transcontinental Railroad together was nothing like this. This was that was a piece of cake.
But, that Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah. Wow. But here we are in the we're back in the studio of the Laughing Bandit, the stage of the Laughing Bandit once again, with our favorite Noblewoman, who is going to get to do a new line reading after they reset. And I have to ask just a simple question that we never asked: was it fun? Did you have a good time making this movie?
Yes, I thought it was a lot of fun. It was just, I think I was there for about 25 minutes and then I was gone.
Aww.
So it wasn't, I don't think, it was very quick. We did it in a very short time and it was not, anything we had to go over a lot. I think I think the director was happy.
Okay. Well, as long as the director was happy, that's what's important.
Yeah.
Wow.
And as we discovered yesterday, we discovered some salacious facts about your relationship with the director.
Yeah. That Joe's my husband at the time. We are not married any longer, but we're very close. And we have 2 great kids together.
Well, that's good. And he did get you in the movie. That was a nice thing for him to get you in there. But you did get in there through talent, and not just by relationships.
Well, I'd like to think that, and thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, and you were just you were equal parts eye rolling and adorable. It was a wonderful time, and you get to wear that crown, and you had
Olivia de Havilland's dress on.
Now, was that your hair that did those big English plaits going down, the giant braids there?
Those are, I'd love to tell you that those were my braids, but sadly, no, I don't have hair like that.
Aww.
And and I had a lot of bangs. I used my bangs, I think, and then they had these big giant, braids that somebody wore in some movie, and then Olivia de Havilland's dress, and then the crown.
Yeah, that might have been Shirley Temple and Heidi or something.
Yeah. Or somebody's crawling up my braids. It was I throw them out the window. There was some fairy tale. What was that?
Yeah, Rapunzel. There you go.
Rapunzel.
There you go.
Rapunzel.
Yeah. But it did come through great. I thought, just watching your little scenes with the chandelier coming down and you're working. You're working Timothy Dalton like a pro. You got that, he's all happy and excited and smiling. You two are acting off each other. He is. He really is good. Then he gets to jump out of the table, and then of course poor Cliff knocks over the flat and wrecks your big scene.
But this time it wasn't. This time it wasn't your fault.
Yeah.
No, darn that Billy Campbell.
Right.
Darn that guy.
He just wants to be in every scene. That's the way it works out.
He needed to be in every scene. I remember that. Oh, he's a doll. He's just so wonderful. And I'll tell you what, that guy is really nice.
Yeah.
He's a very kind actor. He was really, really nice on the set to everybody. And I'm not just saying that because I want him to get a lot of roles. I don't even know what he does now. But I just thought he was, of all the actors that I've met during my marriage to Joe and all the movie people that I met, I think Billy Campbell is one of the, he's just gracious and warm and friendly. And it was a pleasure working with him. And I know that Joe really liked working with him, and Jennifer too.
Yeah. It seemed like a close-knit cast too. I mean, everybody seemed like, probably when the camera stopped rolling, they all went out for a couple of pints and just hung out together. It seems
it
very
was
similar.
like that. It was really like that. And and then this was some years ago when movie making was it was an easier process. I mean, I hate to say it nowadays because Joe's going to be working on another film, getting a piece together and having the producers and everybody be on track together. It is a lot more difficult. And so at the time that Joe was given the script and there were some rewrites, sure, but the director was given a lot more freedom to do what he wanted to do. And so, there were those at Bay that wanted to make sure that they weren't overspending, but it wasn't like it was a huge budget in those days. And I don't even know what it was, 20 million or something like that. I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but that's just nothing. And the sets, it kind of fit together. Joe may have other things to say about it that were more difficult, but from the way I see it and the way I see movies put together nowadays, it flowed very beautifully and everybody was just up to the task and it worked well. And of course, when I came on the set and did my line and everybody was just really happy and it made the whole movie.
Yeah. Oh, no,
Absolutely.
You're the linchpin. You're the turning point of this movie when you.
I like to think that. I like to think that of myself.
Yeah.
I hate to be greedy, Lisa, but would you give us the line one more time? Since at this minute,
the
you gave
good
it the
reading,
second
the
time.
good reading, the good
Oh,
reading.
I will do that.
It was a good reading yesterday, but come on.
This is the good reading. Oh, my prince, would that you drink of my lips as deeply?
I'm never going to watch these headphones again. That's the way it is. It's
Absolutely lovely. And it's so nice in this minute, that little, you get that little sort of cock of the head and smile from Tim Dalton. And then, of course, you see the director.
I can't remember his name, but is grinning from ear to ear. And then
he's got that huge smile on his face.
Yeah.
I think even the people in the audience were happy for you. That's how much it's sold. That's how much it's sold out to the audience. They're like, oh, isn't she nice? Wasn't that a sweet thing? Yeah.
It's so funny. We're supposed to be rooting for the guy with the rocket on his back. Shout out to our friend Billy, who's probably listening right now. But we're really rooting for you in this scene. It's, oh, she's got it. It's good. And then, of course, the walls literally come tumbling down.
They literally come tumbling down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the fellow that played the director, Victor, was Sam Vincent, who was a big character actor at the time. He's been in a million everythings, old TV shows and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But he's great. I mean, he looks like he could do an Alka-Seltzer commercial next week. He has that heartburn look on his face that he's just.
Absolutely. Is he still around? Is he still acting?
I am not sure, but fortunately, through the miracle of IMDb and the internet, I don't know if Hal may beat me to this.
I'm a little gun shy with IMDb. Thank you very much, because way back in what was that, minute 10, we asked Billy Campbell about a role and that he was in, and he laughed and he said, "IMDb told you that, didn't it?" And I said, "Yes." And that was William Campbell. That wasn't even him. So I take it all with a grain of salt.
His last this is one of his last movies. He was in 1993. He was in a movie, Donato and His Daughter. So I do not know the future of there. He was in Baywatch. He was on the TV show Baywatch. So there you have it.
Baywatch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and Falcon Crest.
So. Great shows.
Yeah,
those are all great shows.
They call that steady work. So he had a lot of steady work there, and you can't put a man down for working straight. He just did a lot of good work there. So and he helped along with the movie.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful thing. I mean, Hal and I have watched this movie. There's probably a comma in the number of times we viewed The Rocketeer, and now that we're watching it at frame by frame level, I still love watching all the little scenes and how everything's going. And now, did you get a rehearsal with this, or was it just like, here's the line, let's go?
No, I did not.
Wow.
No rehearsal. I just had to show up one morning and put on my clothing and just do it.
Wow.
It was just that way.
You're good. You're like Batman. You just kind of like jump in on a line and boom, off you go and out the door. It was fantastic.
Yeah, and then of course there's the craft table. There's snacks to have.
Sure.
You got to hang around the really good craft table.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to think of which lot. Well, this was on the lot. I can't even remember what lot this was shot on.
I think it was Disney. I think they shot in
Disney.
At Disney, yeah. So
it was in one of the sound stages in Disney.
Yeah. So
yeah.
they probably filmed a lot of like swashbuckling type movies there in the past. There was Glynis Johns was probably there long ago, but
Oh,
it is a stunner, and just everybody seems happy. I feel bad that this movie isn't as well known as it should be. This could have been.
really?
Yeah, I mean, it could have been the next Indiana Jones. It could have been, another franchise movie. But we've talked in the past about how many there was just a confluence of things going on at the same time, and it's just a shame. I mean, this movie opened the week before Terminator 2 came out, and that just kind of wiped it for the summer.
So much of it has to do with timing too.
Yeah.
That and I thought when Joe did October Sky, it was very well received, but the timing was that a lot of people didn't see it or something else came out, and releasing a film is a huge deal. What gets released and who's in conflict with who. And so, a lot of it is but everyone was going to see films in those days at the movie theater.
Yeah.
Still, and we don't do that as much now. But I think a lot more people are watching it. I often, will hear someone say, "Oh, I just saw that October Sky or Rocketeer again," and you can see it again and again. And it is one of those films that people like to watch, several times because it is a happy film.
Yeah,
it is.
It is.
Really is.
My wife and I watch October Sky every October 4th, which is when the Sputnik launch.
Oh, that's right. You said that. Oh, that's so great.
It's just a family tradition, and yeah, it is something that you can show. It's very inspiring, and I think that might be a constant in Joe's films. He always seems to have inspiring movies. A movie that makes you feel better when you come out than when you walked into the movie theater. And I think that's probably what the job of a director is, to make you feel, uplifted. And I feel that with his movies.
There's always a real undercurrent of affection for the subject matter or the period or anything too. You get a sense of that. It's, The Rocketeer is a love letter to the original graphic novels, but it's also just a period to old style filmmaking. It's a love letter to, the pulp serials, King of the Rocket Men and all those sorts of things from the 30s and all of that. And it always shows through in his work.
A bit of the screwball comedy too. I mean, which is,
sure, yeah.
The Noblewoman role here is, it's just a little goofy Capper-esque thing that you can, you kind of, you root for the underdog, and you're the underdog in this little scene, and it just you win at the end. So in just 2 minutes, you had a complete arc for your character. And
I have to tell you, I sent these clips, the one where I don't do the good reading, and then I sent the good reading, and I sent it to my son and Henry. He's 22, and he said, "Mom," he texts me because of course kids don't talk on the phone; they only text, right?
Yeah.
And he says, "Mom, you could have been a great actress. My God, I can't even believe it." And then he started texting me more. He said, "Mom, are you sad that maybe you gave it up to have me?" And he said, "Did I get in the way of?" And I said, "Oh, Henry, are you kidding me?" And then I really thought he was, serious about it. And finally he goes, "Oh, I'm just kidding you." But he thought it was really funny. And when the kids were little, when they saw it, it doesn't mean anything to them. But then when he saw it again, he says, "My mom wasn't so bad. That was pretty good of her." So
that's really sweet.
It's moments like that you might have to wait 22 years, but you finally, I understand. Yeah, it's funny.
Do you know how that is?
Yeah. I've got two kids in their late 20s and early 30s, and it's funny how much smarter and better you get the older they get. Yeah, it's like, oh, you weren't that.
Well. What I'm finding is that kids really look at our time when we were younger, and they think there's so many cool aspects to our life. Like, "Oh, you guys played a turntable." So my kids have a turntable, and they listen to music on records because they think that's so cool. And we go, "What? Why would you do that?"
My daughter begged me for my record collection and for an old turntable that I had, like it was, it's some kind of a sacred relic. It's like, "You're letting me have your Beatles albums?" I was like, "Well, you can have them. They've been sitting in the bottom of a china closet for years. You can, sure, why not? I haven't played them in years." Yeah. So and they have like parties, like, "Oh, look at this," and it's this weird time machine that they get involved in that stuff, but.
It is. I think it's really great.
Yeah.
They're nostalgic, or it's a retro to them. They call it retro.
Yeah. It's a nicer word than antique.
Yes, it is.
Because we're antique.
Yeah.
Because we are antique.
No, we're classics.
No,
we're just classics.
We're classic. We're classic.
I don't care what happens. I always ask for the senior discount. That's just the way it goes.
You're a smart guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
It's funny. There's looking at this minute, there's something I'd never noticed before until I believe you made the comment once that, Jim, we go through this like there's a Zapruder film, frame by frame. So, we've got Cliff. The flat is about to fall, and we see, what second is it here? It's about second, 39:40 or so. Lisa, you're barely in frame. You're way off to the left. You're standing there holding the rose, and the flat is going to fall towards Tim Dalton and toward that table that you've been acting around. Yeah. And it looks to me like, as far as I can tell, it looks like Julian Barnes as Charlie sort of grabs you by the shoulders, and he's pulling you back to make sure you're out of the way of the falling flat.
Yes, but that was after I toasted or somebody toasted me after I did the good line reading. And of course, we were all sort of celebrating for just that moment before the flat came down. So he had to pull me out of the way. But I would think I saw that I was raising my big, goblet to whoever was toasting. I guess it was the director or something.
Well, no, it was
Timothy Dalton.
Neville Sinclair.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
So then you're holding a rose in your right hand, and then just as that flat falls, it looks like he grabs you and pulls you back, and it almost looks like something that that happened very organically, although I'm sure it was choreographed.
Oh no, it was just very organic. All of that.
Yeah.
So look out, something's falling.
Pure method acting. There we are.
Please don't kill the director's wife.
Yeah.
It's rule number 1 of filmmaking, I think.
Right.
Wow.
That's funny. Oh.
Did you go to the rap? Did you go to the rap party? Because we understood that it was at the South Seas, the big ballroom set.
It was, and it was really exciting and fun, and the whole cast was there, and we danced and ate and danced, and we had a great time.
Wow.
I don't remember. You know what? I don't even remember a lot of that. That was so long ago.
I don't remember being invited to that party. That's a weird one.
I don't know if they have rap parties like that anymore and premieres like they had. I mean, but that was a real proper premiere.
Yeah, it was at the El Capitan and
the El Capitan, and I mean, again, I don't even know if they do things like that in Hollywood any longer. But they had money to do that, and people just it was still like kind of the old time movie making, and my I don't know. I don't know if they still do that anymore. I mean, I've just been out of it for so long. Yeah. I'd have to ask Joe.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays I know a lot of it's like green screen and stuff like that, and you're acting in front of nothing. But this you see literally, this is the sets. You can see the flats and the walls and all that, and the lights and stuff. It really is a nice old-fashioned movie, but made in the this is probably one of the last ones to be like that, where you're just seeing regular full-size practical effects. I mean, we've been talking over these many minutes about the air pilot, the pilots that do stunt work on all these things, and stuff like real people falling off the back of real airplanes. Nowadays, that would probably be either CGI or they do it in a studio in front of a bunch of green screens and they'd be falling on green mattresses. But it must have been nice to be a part of all that back in the day when this was still a thing that was not completely uncommon.
I remember when Joe was doing, and this is right after we first met, and he was doing Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, that I'm sure your kids have seen.
Sure.
And, that was the beginning of, it was kind of the beginning of a special effect idea. There were things that had to happen in that film because the kids got shrunk. And I think it was the very first film that I noticed that green screen or blue screen or whatever they did, but it was on such an elementary level. So you could see, I think there was bees floating around or something. You could see that filament line.
Yeah.
They had to erase that and stuff, but it was still so new. And so, and I don't even speak, intelligently about it because I know so little about special effects, but nowadays special effects, you can do anything and you can make anything or have somebody anywhere that they want to be. I mean, it's sort of like if you have this limitlessness with the new special effects nowadays, it makes it less humane. I mean, there's a humaneness about the Rocketeer and and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids that it brings it on a level that's kind of a little bit more personal. I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think it also gives the actors a chance to react to something. You don't have to pretend that you're looking at a green wall and stuff. it's
That's difficult.
it's I mean there's so much more open possibilities for just the grandeur of the visual effect. You can see all these,
Mhm.
they can have like 100,000 people fighting a war and stuff, but sometimes you don't care about the 100,000 people. You just want to see how two people are reacting in the middle of it all. So
Well, that's the whole point. That's the whole thing, is that you had to have a story, and there had to be, relationships that worked, because you couldn't rely, nowadays you can say, and I don't mean to say everything is bad nowadays, bad special effects, but it can take the place of a good script. Because you can take a mediocre script and make it doctor it up with a lot of good special effects, but you can really see that a really good script that works, you don't need any special effects. And Joe is always was looking for that October Sky type of thing to
yeah.
do again, because he liked that so much. It was so real, and he's a classic movie director from a time where, you really had to know everything from soup to nuts. I mean, as far as script development and all the way through to the editing process, he sort of was adapted all of that. So, I got to hand it to him. He's a talented guy.
Oh yeah.
Well, and it's amazing to me to think about. We're having this discussion, and it's absolutely spot on in terms of, he likes that, sort of the earthy, organic feel, and he's not going to over rely on special effects. And for somebody who, first came to my attention as a kid working on the first Star Wars film, sort of initially all about special effects, but it was about real special effects. It was about, that organic sort of in camera feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's amazing, because it seemed like he sort of learned the power of special effects, came to understand them. And then he also, unlike so many directors, he learned to use them judiciously. And,
exactly.
To further the story.
That's a good way of putting it. Mm-hmm.
I'd go out on a limb and say, Captain America, obviously plenty of CG in there, and some astounding effects work done to Chris Evans to make him look so different and all those sorts of things. But that still, to me, has that very, very real, old time filmmaking feel, even though there's obviously a lot more CG in something like that than there would be in Rocketeer.
It has a human level of the story. You're not taking it out to the epic. You're trying to focus on, just some guy that's caught in a strange situation. And that's what, October Sky we were talking about earlier was. It's a very human. There's a couple of very small special effects involving the rockets, but the rest of it's a human drama, and you care about the relationships of everybody in the film. That now I want to do October Sky Minute, so we've got to sign up.
Yes.
For that.
Oh, you should. Then you can. Well, what was so wonderful about October Sky is that Homer Hickam, who this is a true life story, wrote the book, The Rocket Boys. He was a part of the entire. He and his wife Linda, we became very close. They were a part of the whole production, and they still celebrate, I think, Rocket
Days,
Rocket Days or something in West Virginia, where he grew up. And, we were there, and, the shooting, I was there for a lot of it. But that was another film that just came together so beautifully. And Jake Gyllenhaal, so cute. He's so young and innocent, and he was just the funniest guy ever.
And Laura Dern and all
and Laura Dern. Oh, she was wonderful in that too. I remember those days. That was a great time.
Yeah,
and Joe loved working on that film, because it just everything fell into place with, I guess, Larry or Chuck, I can't remember, Gordon came to him with the script, and everything just fell together very beautifully, and it got made so simply and easily. I mean, I just sort of it seemed like it got greenlit so quickly. And again, I'm making a comparison about how nowadays, you got to get funding from, 10 different sources and all this kind of stuff. It becomes very complicated. But, it was just, again, these were the halcyon days of movie making at the end of those kinds of days, I guess.
Yeah, no, it was magic. I mean, I can still, just even thinking of the final scenes of October Sky, where you watch the last rocket go off. My throat gets dry thinking of that, of that one scene, about how powerful it was. And even down to the just showing the old 8mm films that these I mean, Joe tied it up in a bow by showing these are the real they really happened. These are real people, and this whole story was a real thing that went on with with kids that became the basis of our space program.
Oh, I think those family photos or those films came right at the last minute when they were editing. Somebody's aunt or his Homer's aunt or great aunt or something said, "Oh, I wonder if you could use these." And they're
Wow.
all, "Are you kidding? Oh my
Oh
God!"
my
It was sort of
gosh.
like, it was like when they played those film clips at the end, there was not a dry eye in the house. I remember just always sitting at these screenings, and I would just start to cry at the end every time, and also in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids when the aunt died.
Yeah, yeah,
I started crying.
Yeah.
yeah. It's so
I,
sad. It's so.
I was
Yeah,
just
I've never cared so much about an ant.
I know. I was the aunt died, and then when Homer is watching the rocket go up, and his dad comes
And
over and he puts his arm. I'm
yeah,
kind of skipping back and forth through all these movies, but I'm just thinking of things that move me, and now I remember them very profoundly. I remember just kind of sobbing with
yeah,
that when
and
Dad makes that little gesture.
it was such a gentle film. There were no, it's like we've been inundated with summer blockbusters and things like that. But you see this movie, it's about a family and a guy trying to reconcile his, this constant tension with his dad, that, and getting it resolved at the end to, to that point. It's I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to stop thinking about it.
Yes, we're
You
gonna
gotta
have to do
do. You
the
gotta.
October
You
Sky
Yeah,
gotta.
we got to
minute.
go to that other Joe Johnston movie that we're talking
Yeah.
about.
I like that idea.
But
Well, and it's
it does. I mean, it's not at the same level, but I mean, the Rocketeer has a lot of moments like that where you just want to hug everybody that's in the film and say, you're doing the right thing, and this is, it's
well, it's another very affectionate movie. I mean, we keep
yeah,
calling it's a love letter to this, it's a love letter to that, and I hate to overuse that, but it's exactly
Hmm.
exactly what it is. And it's it doesn't have the tear jerking moments that something like October Sky does, except when that Noblewoman gets that line right.
yeah.
That brings a
It
tear to
hits you
my
right
eye
here, doesn't
on
it?
her
Yeah.
second take when she just nails that
Yeah.
line
But
about
it
the
That
prince and
yeah.
You're
But
right.
she's
You're right.
amazing.
You know what I think that is moving about this film? It's when, now that I'm remembering, now we're talking so much about this, and the opening credits when they're opening up the doors to the big Quonset hut or the
Yeah.
airplane hangar,
Yeah.
and the music, and that's
James Horner. Yeah.
James Horner, who passed away or was killed in a
It's
in a plane an
Yeah.
airplane craft. He was a pilot, and he died. But I mean, that's what makes me get a little emotional about it. But that the music to that film was very, very moving. And sometimes you don't remember that until you look back. And I remember putting that on my tape recorder and listening to it because it was so beautiful. And that music started playing right when they were doing the opening credits. And I just thought, oh my gosh, because I am very moved by music when I hear something that really, you were talking about love letters, how something, this is what kind of moves me almost more, is when the music is spot on. I mean, that will carry me through a lot. But it was a good film. So it turns out the music is good. And he had to use, temp music for the longest time that I fell in love with. And then they're only temp music because then it has to be the real deal. And I thought, oh, there's never going to be, the main theme song that's going to be as good as this temp music that he used for something else. I guess he couldn't reuse it again on this film.
Yeah.
And then he came off with, he's a talented guy. And then he did the new music and played it, and they put it to the movie, and it was very, very effective. I remember that very much about that film. Yeah.
It's funny because I'll go.
Go ahead. You go.
It's you talk about temp music. There's a dear friend of mine who was a guest with us. One of our first guests way back in minute 3, and he's out in Hollywood. He's a gifted musician and composer, and he does actually. A lot of his living is making some of the temp music for trailers and things, but for pre-release. I got to give him a shout out to Tom Geyer, Brand X Music. He's the guy who did our opening theme, our closing theme, and some other musical cues for us. But that minute 3 was really special to me because we talked to him for quite a long time, and he had his keyboard out, and he was playing the James Horner theme and all the different variations of it, and helping us understand. In this, we're changing a couple of notes because we're conveying a different emotion here. And I was really, really wrapped up in it because I have loved this score since the second I saw the movie for the first time back in '91. Mm-hmm. So really interesting to hear you bring that up about how much it's meant to you as well.
And Joe has a great ear. I mean, every one of his movies that I've seen of Joe's, he had, like Mark Isham did the music for October Sky, and just the sound of the cellos and the violin playing that very plaintive theme. You start welling up just hearing it, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
pulled you in.
oh, Mark Isham is another very talented composer. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I really love hearing. Yeah, for October Sky, that movie. I'm trying to think of that song now. Oh well,
Yeah,
I'll have to
you'll hear it
listen.
and you'll just start crying. It's just one of those. It's one of those
I,
things. It's very
uh,
emotive, very
yeah,
melodic. But yeah,
yeah.
and even even today, I mean the Captain America movies, which is now of course his name just escaped me. The Lost. He did Lost and he did The
Is
Incredibles.
it Michael Giacchino?
Yes, there we
Uh,
go. Yes,
Okay,
That did
right.
the.
Did Rogue One as well?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, and
oh.
he just has such a beautiful sound. I'm sorry, no, with Captain America it was Alan Silvestri
Oh, that's right.
of
It was
So
Alan. It
Alan
was Alan
Silvestri.
yes.
Silvestri.
Well,
Yeah.
I always associate him with Who Framed Roger Rabbit,
Oh,
the
oh,
That's
great
cool.
score that I
yeah,
love.
yeah, but
That's right.
that very triumphant theme in Captain America was so it sounded very 40s patriotic and very World War II. But these are the kind of this is the kind of soundtracks that Joe Johnston understands what the film needs, and being able to find the people that can craft it is quite a skill, and it's impressive. And I'm understating that by a lot, but gosh, we've gone from every we've gone through just about every movie, including the Rocketeer. But
Yeah.
I really want to thank you, Lisa, for being sharing the 2 minutes of the Rocketeer. That was I know it's long in your past, but I'm glad we could bring it back up to you and talk some more about it.
Well,
And
thank you for.
I hope you really understand how much people do still appreciate it, and
Oh,
you're
I'm
a part
knowing,
of something.
I'm understanding that now. I just love it. It's giving me a kick. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm grinning right now.
Well, just
Oh, that's excellent.
as if you talk to your mom again, tell her you have at least two fans, and
Right.
there's
Yes.
lots more. And if
And if your mom is truly skeptical, bring her on the show.
yeah,
I
You know.
will.
we'll
Oh, I will. Oh, thank you guys. Thanks for talking.
but it's great. So I know a lot of people are going to want to ask you questions and things like that, and we've probably they're probably screaming at their headsets right now as they're on the treadmill or whatever and thinking, why didn't you
Really?
ask her about this or that? So
Oh, I
but
don't know what else I could say.
well, we'll see, but we'll find out. That those folks will be leaving us messages on social media, but I just want to give them the chance here. If you want to reach out and leave a message for Lisa, check us out on many social medias on Twitter with Rocketeer Minute. We've got the Rocketeers Bulldog Cafe out on Facebook. Of course, the great big site. Rocketeerminute.com, where we have links to Lisa's art, which is you really should go and take a look at that because it is
Thank you.
it's a beautiful thing, and hopefully you'll hear from people like that have seen it because it is gorgeous stuff.
Okay.
So check that out on the episodes that are out there. Please, if you haven't subscribed yet, we're 34 minutes into the movie and you haven't subscribed yet, so go out to iTunes or Google Play, search for Rocketeer Minute, press subscribe, and you get this show delivered to you hot and fresh, the Bulldog edition, as it were, the night before this premieres on our website. So get it early and get it fast. You only have to subscribe once, and it's right there. So, but thank you very much for joining us again. Thank you, Lisa. Maybe we'll have you again on again sometime. And please, if you see Joe, tell him thank you. And
Okay,
we're
I will
sorry
do
we
that.
Both of
we're
us,
sorry
please.
we keep bothering him, but yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
all the best on his next shows that we're sure we're going to be buying tickets and going to see real soon. So anyway, well, for everybody listening in, thank you for listening, and we will see you tomorrow as we finish out the week on the Rocketeer Minute. So until next time, over and out.
Bye-bye.